Hey, what's up everybody? It's Jan from Intial Academy. In this video, I'm going to show you how to go from an initial idea for your podcast to a recorded podcast session with your ideal guests, influencers in less than 3 weeks. This is what I've done. You're going to watch me in the past come up with an idea for the podcast, just like a super basic one, and then booking guests, outreaching to them, booking them, recording the podcast, buying all this gear, and then realizing something huge that I didn't realize before, and that's where I'm right now. 3 weeks ago, I realized I need to do podcasting. I don't know why. It just came to my mind. And the first thing was like, I need to do it for myself for the reasons that where I'm struggling with. So I'm in the agency space, the B2B sales space, and I have some stuff that I was trying to improve. So I wanted to do it for myself, but also for other people. And that's the basic idea. Become a go-to resource for well-established entrepreneurs who want to get to the next level. Very basic, very shitty idea. Wanting to do it like Nathan Latka. I don't know if you know this guy, but he has a top podcast. He has a rigid structure of 10-minute or 15-minute podcasts where he asks the same questions, all these SaaS founders, and he kind of gets from them a lot of numbers like churn rate, retention rate, and then he sells those data and so on. But I realized that this wouldn't be a great fit. I wanted to speak about something deeper, like why businesses fail, or like why are you in business, what drives you, and all those kind of like mission statements, because I realized that's very important for business. It is important for business. So I wanted to get on with people who are big name influencers, potential clients, experts on B2B sales and marketing, successful entrepreneurs, consultants, agency owners, mentors who I can build relationships with, create a database, maybe sell something, upsell to other businesses, and so on. I had a basic structure for the podcast, like intro, like 10 questions, and then like some questions about their daily life. And that's it. That took me like 10 minutes to come up with. In this video, you're gonna go in the past and watch me reach out to huge influencers and seeing what happens next. So make sure to watch this. Hey everybody, it's Jan here from Intial Academy. In today's video, I've decided to start a podcast, and I'm gonna go one by one and step by step about the process. How am I gonna book speakers? And you're gonna watch me do it. The podcast is an idea at this point. I have no podcast gear. I have no microphone, no lenses, no nothing. I do have a list of speakers, but only 4 of them, as you can see here. And I want to show you how I'm gonna get in touch with these speakers, book meetings with them, and have a podcast with them, and how am I going to distribute the content as well. So it's going to be interesting. I'm launching the podcast. I just have this urge. I need to do it, and it's one of my projects, side hustles, because I have an agency, so that's my core business, but this will be something I'm going to be focused on. So first of all, let's look at this list. So I have 4 people here, and the idea behind the podcast is to become a go-to resource for really successful entrepreneurs to get to the next level. So this is not a podcast about how to start in business or how to focus on marketing or sales. It's more related to business in general and how to really level up. So all these guys are pretty successful guys. 2 of them are investors. One of them is a really high-end consultant, and one of them is really successful, has a really successful YouTube channel plus a couple of businesses. All of them are killing it. So I got 4 of them, got their emails here. I'm not going to show you that, but I want to show you the structure of the email I'm going to send them. So here's the email. The subject line, I'm going to go with podcast interview next week. And the first sentence, of course, it's going to be, hey, first name. And then I have a basic link where it says custom comment, which will be this thing. So this thing will be custom comment. And you can see, for example, for Ernesto, I actually met the guy. And it's about, it says, I'm not sure if you remember, but I used to work at Next Level Pharma in 2015. We met in Berlin at the Medical Device Market Access Summit. I see that you're still running Valley Connected. I remember you being one of the best speakers in Berlin. I should add, in Berlin. All right. If he sees this now, that's gonna be funny. Miles, you know, I came across you on YouTube 2016. Back when you had a few hundred subs and binge watched all your tutorials, loved the ones about setting up the funnel with Thrive Teams, which I still use to this day because of you. I recently stumbled upon you again. I couldn't believe that you have over 85k subs. Congrats, man. And all of these people they somehow I use them. So this guy runs Woodpecker. I use their software with my clients. This guy, I use his software, which we're gonna actually try out, Mailshake, personally for my outreach. And so all of them, I have some connection right in. So these are the first people I'm gonna reach out to. And the sentence right after the custom comment will be, I run a successful agency but recently got obsessed with the podcasting world, so I decided to launch my own with the mission to become a go-to resource for well-established entrepreneurs who are already successful but want to get to the next level. I'd love to have you featured on my podcast and speak to you about topic 123, and this is going to be linked to this thing. So how did you build value connected? What's your mission and vision for the company? How do you optimize your time in business and life? Because this is something I'm really obsessed about. You can see all these lines here. How did you build your personal brand as well as your business? I do have a list of like 15 questions I want to run through, but it's not cool to email them all of these things, right? I just want to kind of hint at them the topics, top 3, and see if somebody will agree to meet me. So I hope one of these guys will actually have a podcast with me. So we'll see. This is a live test. Well, it's not live. It happened in the past, but at this point I have no idea if this worked or not, so I hope it will. And so this is the topics, right? They are both, all of them are custom. And then it says the interview shouldn't be longer than 25-30 minutes. Would you be up for a slot next week, Jan? So goddamn. At this point, I'm not including any PS line. At this point, I have no microphone, I have no camera or nothing. So this is like minimum viable product or minimum viable offer of a startup, right? I'm getting an interest. If people agree to meet with me and if we lock in a solid appointment for the podcast, that's when I'm going to deal with like how are we actually going to do that? What microphone are we going to use? Are we going to tape it or what are we going to do? I just have a basic structure. What content should it include? And first of all, let's get some guests because it's all useless then. So let's do this. Let's do it in Mailshake. Let's do it. It's all ready. So I'm in Mailshake. I'm going to start a new campaign. And I'm going to say podcast next. And now we're going to download this. So I'm going to go to File, Download as, CSV as always. You're going to drop it like it's tarred. Podcast. Boom. Here, first name, we want to automate first name. We don't want to use last name. Custom comment topping 1 and 3. Yes. Next. And here is the email. We'll see how it goes. So this is going to be the email. And this is going to be podcast interview next week. I'm thinking about including a name like Miles. Hey, podcasting. I think I'm just gonna say first name dash room for another for a podcast interview because it was too big. Room for a podcast interview. I don't know. What do you guys think? This is how I come up with subject lines. We'll see how it goes. So this is it. The email sounds okay. These are the topics. I'm not adding follow-ups at this point. I might add them later, but I'll just try to do this for you guys right now. Shorter subject line. Sujan. So let's see how it looks like. Next. Blah 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 blah. I'd love to have you featured on my podcast and speak to you about. So let's just go and track opens. Schedule this to send at 2:40 p.m. Well, here's the deal. These guys, Sujan is from US, Ernesto is from Europe, Matt is from Europe, and Miles is from US. 8:40 a.m. It should be okay. Replies, opens. Whoever opens this, that's a lead for me. I'll obey the laws. Track open, schedule this to send, track link clicks. I'm not including any opt-out because I know these guys. At least like I know these guys, either I'm their customer or I've met them or I'm a big fan. So I hope they won't mind if I don't include opt-out. I'm not gonna bother them. I might send them a LinkedIn message and maybe one more email and that's it.
I just don't want to just keep following up with somebody who I respect. So, okay, that's about it. And let's do next. This is so exciting because I have no idea if this is gonna work out. Oh, oh, okay. It's done. I was thinking about it a long time. Done. So now we wait, and I'll share with you a screen once I get some replies, and we'll see if it worked or not. Thanks.
Cool. So we're back. It's these are the results. So the first who came back was Sujan Patel, and Sujan came back on the same date, and he said, "I remember. Count me in." Now you have to realize, I made a list of those 4 people, but I have already built a really micro relationship with them before. I, for example, reviewed Sujan's software, which was Mailshake, on YouTube. He commented on it. Plus, I am paid for it, so I actually gave him money. And I believe that was also the main reason why he came back to me and said, like, yeah, let's do it. And basically from there, we just arranged the date and time. I emailed him back saying, like, great, you're in this time zone, just pick a time and date and let's do it. You have to realize these people are super busy, so you have to be up to the task. And that's Sujan. Super happy that this happened. The second guy who came back was Ernesto. He said, yeah, let's do it. I'm very happy. Let's do it in this time. Then we had to reschedule, but it was really cool. It was really cool. And then I had Matt coming back and saying, hey, Jan, really love what you do. Sorry for my late reply, but I was out of the office for 2 weeks. Or Friday at 4 p.m. work for you. Now, I've already recorded podcasts with Sujan and Ernesto. With Matt, I'm still waiting. I've done 2 others. And so it's to kind of realize how I'm thinking about it. I've did a Sujan first, and then I know people who know Sujan and who respect him, and I kind of opened up a relationship with them by saying, hey, I did a podcast with Sujan, would you guys want to jump into my podcast? And they said, like, hell yeah, let's do it. And that's how I did another 2 podcasts, and then another, and this is how I'm doing it. Now, I realized a bunch of stuff right from the beginning, and I want to tell you guys what I've done first. So first step, book the guest. Book it. Got it? That's amazing. Second step, go buy your setup. All you need is this thing, then this microphone, which is very cheap. I think it was like 150 euros. And it's pretty good. And pop filter, like for 8 euros, that kind of minimizes the words like pip podcasting. It's for the P word or something like that. And what I've realized, I don't have the audio setup, so I just need a very simple mic where I can connect it with the USB into my PC, and that's how I do it. And seems to work out. So make sure to just do like a very short setup, altogether maybe 200 euros, and I think it's worth it. And once you buy it, you already know you have these guys set up for podcast, so you don't have to worry about it if you would bought it before. Make sure at this moment, when I was recording these podcasts with these guys, I don't have a name. I don't have like a full structure of the podcast. Nothing. And so here's the next step. When you are going to record a podcast, use Zoom. Now Zoom, here's the deal. You guys will start researching how to do podcasts and all that. You will be overwhelmed. I was, and I run a business and I've done a YouTube channel. I was overwhelmed with podcasting. Like, God damn, this is not simple. You need that. And I was so kind of like taken back, like, oh shit. That's why I'm creating this video, to kind of forget all that noise out there about podcasting. Just do MVP. Do MVP and see if you like it. That's the most important thing. If you don't like it, then don't do it. So use Zoom. Zoom is the best thing to record it for now. I know there might be better options for now because it gives you video, it gives you audio, and you can download it after that and just upload it to YouTube or somewhere. So you go to here, you create an account. I think it's free. There's a free trial. Here's my account. And then you host a meeting. You just click here and you say with video on. And that's how it is. Now you open the Zoom meeting. And basically, you'll have this meeting. What then you have to do once you get inside the room like this one, you join it, you test your audio and everything, and you say you want to invite people, and you click on copy invitation, and you send it to people. So like Sujan, you can see it here. I've said, hey Sujan, can you please join me on this podcast link, and I sent him this link. So he just clicks on it, goes into the room, and starts recording. Now, what I realized after Ernesto's podcast was that we were both on one screen all the time, like full screen me or then him when he was talking and like that. And we went for an hour. With Sujan, I've split it both into two screens on one full screen so that people could see both of us, and that's much better. So you see, you always learn these things. I had this chair which can do this like PewDiePie, but I realized it's really distracting me this when I have to sit down for 40 minutes and listen to somebody. So I had to kind of straighten it back, and those are the things you learn. I didn't know those. So that's kind of what you want to do. Once you have it recorded, download it to your computer. You have it. You have audio version and video. That's amazing. It's pretty good quality as well. So just make sure all your guests have video. So what have I realized? What am I actually talking about? Well, I realized a few things after four of these podcasts. And the first one was each of them was different. Each of them, one took 1 hour, the other one took 40 minutes, the other 30 minutes. Each of them was really different, and I didn't follow the structure. I had the basic structure of intro, questions, and then something about personal life, because my whole idea was I'm gonna find out why people start business and why is it fail or not, and like really go in depth on like philosophy and so on. But Sujan told me something really struck me when he said like, oh, I know people just wonder about these questions, but that middle part of the business where you try to grow it, that's like the most exciting to me, which is the most boring part. And I realized like I need to provide a lot of value, a lot of actionable ideas for people. And even if I'm struggling with something, or if people are, and I can't do it by just asking big questions like why are you in business, what drives you, what motivates you, what's your mission. These are the basics. You have to know them. So I definitely want to know these things, but by the end of the podcast. In the beginning, I'm going really in depth on something. So for example, with Ernesto, we were talking about long sales cycles. He's selling to medical device companies. He's a really high-end consultant. With Sujan, he has multiple SaaS businesses and an agency. How does that look like? What does he do? So that was the focus there on kind of growth hacking, as well as running multiple companies, and really talking about Mailshake. We were talking about outreach as well. With Juraj, which is a guy who runs a SaaS company from Slovakia, they did a lot of demos. I think he had an experience with doing 300 or 400 demos. So we were really in depth talking about demo process for a SaaS company, B2B SaaS. And we did a lot of value there. And then we talked about like some stuff about life. Once we proved that there's value, right? With Ricardo, who's a really cool expert on LinkedIn, inbound marketing. We talked about just LinkedIn inbound marketing, and he can talk about many things. He's a growth hacker, he has SaaS companies as well, but we just focused on LinkedIn inbound because I realized, man, if I am going this in depth, I need to just focus on one thing. If we're gonna cover all these things, that's just too much and no value for people. We need to bring value. That's what I realized. And that wasn't my mission before, so it changed. So that's why I'm saying you shouldn't buy a name or a domain or hosting before you do this, because right now I still don't have a name for the podcast. No name. I'm gonna do it right now because before I had the name The Reason Why Podcast, and now it wouldn't make sense because I'm not trying to find out why. So that's kind of what my advice is for you guys, to come up with this MVP, do like 4 or 5 and realize if you like it, and then see the structure change. The other thing is, what I realized, what you will realize it soon, is once you start Googling around that, you'll be confused and all that, but you'll realize there's so many things that go into the podcast. Just to rank in iTunes or something like that, you'll need a lot of reviews, a lot of episodes. You need to launch really huge podcasts with a lot of episodes. You need to pre-record 20 or 30 of them, which I didn't know. I thought I can just record an episode and just get it out there. No, you can't if you're not Joe Rogan. If you just try to start out, you have to just come big. There's so many things, right? With the name, with the logo, with the design, transcribing those podcasts, putting it up to the blog post, distributing the content in a minimum form to other social networks. So many things I was really sick. So really this MVP is a really cool stuff. So I hope this helped you guys to figure out what kind of podcast will you run, because it is possible to book people to record a podcast and to have kind of a vision before you even launch your website, your idea, your domains and all that stuff, because many people tell you like to do that first. Come up with what you like, the skill set and your passion, and mash it together. From that you realize what the podcast should be about. You don't know that. What if you start doing it and you realize, this is not what I like actually, this is not what I enjoyed. And that's exactly what I realized. So I hope this helped you, and in 3 weeks you should be able to record 5 sessions. And with Zoom, with the basic microphone, USB cable, with the recording software like Zoom, you'll be okay. And yeah, the outreach, you see my emails in the outreach, so make sure to hit them up and should be fine. Think strategically about your guests, who can help you get to other people, right? And yeah, just realize that, and don't be super focused on like what's your vision, because it's gonna change. So that's my advice. Hopefully you will take it, and hopefully this was educational. Leave me a comment if you need something else about the setup, about the software tools, or like how to reach out to these people. I can't help you with some stuff, but I can help you with some stuff. And by this stage, when you're watching it, maybe I'm already top 1 podcast. You never know. If you're watching it in 2020, that would be exciting. So, signing off is Jan, and thank you very much. If you're in B2B marketing and sales, consider subscribing to this channel plus to my podcast. We'll see you next time, guys. Thanks.